Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2 Semester 2 Review, Unit 7B. Remember to show all your work and to place your final answer on the lines. All right, so our directions tell us that we need to solve by factoring. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at number 1. The first thing we always check, is there a GCF? And there isn't. But I am left with a quadratic binomial with subtraction. Okay, so what that tells me, if these are perfect squares, I can take the square roots. And guess what? Yep, you can. Okay. So the square root of 121x squared is 11x. Okay, remember one's a plus and one's a minus. The square root of 36 is 6. Now, normally we'd say, hey, we're done, but you got to remember that whole equals 0 thing right there, okay? Everything with a variable we have to set equal to 0. So 11x plus 6 equals 0, and 11x minus 6 equals 0. And then we just solve. Some of you can do this in your head, some of you can't. Okay, so I'll do one by work and the other in our head. So we subtract the 6 to both sides. I got 11x equals negative 6. And then I need to divide by 11. And it's okay just to leave your answer as a fraction. X equals negative 6 over 11. Now, on the right side, I know I have to add 6 to the other side. So I know that there's going to be 6. And then to get the x by itself, I have to divide by 11. Now, my final thing, to write my answers on the line, I'm going to put them in order from least to greatest. Okay. Number 2. Now, the thing I like about number 2, just kind of like in number 1, is that it's already set equal to 0, so that makes it a lot easier. Now, this exponent is telling me how many answers. I should have 3 answers. Just like on the last one, I forgot to point that out. Squared, that means I should have 2 answers, unless it's a special case, which those weren't. Now, as I'm doing number 2, remember the first thing we always check for is a GCF. Well, right away, both of them have M's, and they both end in 5. Okay, so I know I can take out a 5M. So 0 equals, my GCF comes out in front, and whatever's left over stays inside. 125 divided by 5 is 25. And I'm not done yet, because I can factor the binomial further because it's a quadratic binomial with subtraction. My GCF did not disappear. That stays there. Okay, the square root of m squared is m. The square root of 25 is 5. 1's a plus, 1's a minus. And now remember, everything with a variable gets set equal to 0. Okay, all of these you should be able to do in your head. Okay, dividing both sides by 5, you get m equals 0. Subtract the 5 to the other side, we get negative 5. And add the 5 to the other side, we get 5. So our answers, once again in numerical order, are negative 5, 0, and 5. Okay, number 3. Remember, the first thing to check for is a GCF. All right, they're both divisible by 3. My leading guy is negative, so I'm going to divide by negative. And they both have m's. So my GCF comes out front. Negative 3m squared divided by negative 3m gives me m. 9m divided by negative 3m is negative 3. All right. Everything with the variable we set equal to 0. And then we get our two answers of what? Yeah, it should be 0 and 3. All right, number 4. Can we take out a GCF? No. Okay. Well, it's a trinomial, quadratic trinomial, so I want to see, are there numbers that multiply to get to 81 and add to get to negative 18? If you don't know that right off the back, you should be writing down all the factors. 1 and 81, 2 doesn't, 3 and 27, 4 doesn't, 5 doesn't, 6 doesn't, 7 doesn't, 8 doesn't, and then we get 9 and 9. Okay, so the numbers that multiply to get to 81 and add to negative 9, those are going to be 9 and 9. But how does it work? Well, that's right, they both have to be negative. Okay, so now that they work in both situations, I can do that shortcut. So we get x minus 9 and x minus 9 equal to 0. And everything with the variable, once again, we set equal to 0. And then I get my two answers of x equals 9 and, whoa, they're both the same. So if they're both the same, do I have to write them twice? No, because it's the same number. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. So remember, the first thing that we always check for, since it's already set equal to 0, is a GCF. So can I take a number out of all of them? Yeah, I can factor out a 2. And when I factor out the 2, remember the GCF comes out front, and we're left with x squared minus 16 plus 56 divided by 2 is, that's right, 28. Okay, so now I want numbers that multiply to get to 28 and add to get to negative 16. Okay, so 1 and 28, 2 and 14, 4 and 7. Yeah, 2 and 14. And yeah, they both have to be negative for this to work. So I can do my shortcut. Remember, the GCF is still there. To x minus 2, x minus 14, and then everything. Remember, it's everything with the variable. Okay, I don't do anything with that 2. Okay, and then when we solve, we get x equals 2 and x equals 14. So I'm just going to put those in numerical order. All right, number 6, they're making us do some work because yeah, it's not set equal to 0. So I need to look at my highest exponents, and then I'm going to move the smaller one. So everything cancels on the right side. I'm going to set it equal to 0. 3 plus 2 is 5x squared plus 13x plus 6. Okay. Is there a GCF? No. So I need to multiply those two numbers. 5 times 6 is 30. So I want numbers that multiply to 30 and add to 13. Do you know what they are? Well, if you don't know, write the list. Yeah, it should be 3 and 10. Okay. So now we have the 5x squared plus 3x plus 10x plus 6 equal to 0, and we have to, sorry, hey, that's my wife. No, that's not what we want. There we go. So now we have to factor this, okay? So the GCF of the first group is an x, the x comes out front, we're left with 5x plus 3. Okay, the GCF of the back right here is a 2, right? Okay, it's a positive 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And those match, which means we did it right. So we got 5x plus 3. Don't forget it's set equal to 0 and x plus 2. And then, yeah, we set each one of those equal to 0. So 5x plus 3 equals 0 and x plus 2 equal to 0. Just remember, you want those answers in numerical order. So our two answers would be -2 and -3/5. Okay, let's move on to number 7. So number 7 says find the dimensions of the triangle, or of the given triangle. All right, now this is key right here because this is telling me it's a right triangle. So we're going to use the Pythagorean Theorem, which was a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so remember, it doesn't matter if you write x plus 2 squared plus x squared equals the x plus 4 squared. That and this are saying the exact same thing, okay? That's a hint for your final, okay? So what we're going to do is the first one is x times x. Sorry, I just want to make sure. Remember, that is the only one that has to be there because that's the hypotenuse. Okay, that's our C. Okay, so we have x times x plus x plus 2 times x plus 2, and that's going to equal x plus 4 times x plus 4. Okay, why don't you guys pause the video and see if you can factor that, distribute that all on your own. Okay, good luck. Okay, so I factored and I combined like terms, all right? X plus x gives me 2x squared. 2x plus 2x gave me 4x. And then on the other side, we had 4x plus 4x give us 8x. So now I want to move my smaller variable, or my smaller x squared, so it's positive, because we need this set equal to 0. Okay, when all of those cancel out, we've got 0. And now 2x squared minus x squared is x squared. 4 minus 8 is -4. 4 minus 16 is -12. Okay? And we're almost done. Yes, we are almost done. All right. Now, if I'm solving this, I want to look for a GCF, and there isn't one. So I want numbers that multiply to get to -12 and add to get to -4. Okay? So 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Yeah, it's going to be 2 and 6, but the 6 is negative. Okay, I can do that shortcut. X plus 2, x minus 6 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0, x minus 6 equals 0, and then we get our two answers of negative 2 and 6. So, which one is it not? Well, it can't be negative 2 because if I just plug in right here, I can't have a negative 2 side length. So, wah, wah. Let's make sure it's in red. Okay. So we're going to go through and plug in 6 to each one of these. And, well, right here, we would get 6. 6 plus 2 would be 8. And then 6 plus 4 would give us 10. So we get our final answer now of what are all the side lengths, the dimensions. The dimensions are 6, 8, and 10. All right, let's flip it over. We've got a couple more to take care of. Go ahead and read number 18 and number 8, and circle or highlight any key information. Okay, so there's my formula. We're talking about an object that's being thrown from a platform. Now, when I'm looking at the first one, it says what was the initial height of the object. The two things we're talking about is height and time. Now, the initial height, we don't know, but we do know time. The initial time of something, there's no time that's gone off. So we got h equals, we can plug in 0 for the time, and we're going to get our answer. Okay, 0 squared times negative 6, oh, cancels. 32, oh, cancels. And we're left with h equaling 20, and that's going to be 20 feet. Okay, now if you memorized the equation, excuse me, that we said that this was gravity, this was the velocity, and that last number is the initial height. Okay, so if you memorize that, hey, you can get the answer right away. Okay, now the next one, B, how long will it take it to hit the ground? Remember, the two things we always talk about is height and time. They're saying how long, well, that's time. So they've got to tell us the height. But there's no numbers, but there's the ground. Okay, we know that the ground is 0 feet. So we can go through negative 16t squared plus 32t plus 20. I would want to take out the GCF. Okay, the number that goes into all of those would be a negative 4. So the negative 4 goes out front. We still have the 0. And then what's left over would be 4t squared minus 8t minus 5. Okay. And now, as we're breaking this down, I'm just doing all this off to the side right here. I want numbers that multiply to get to a negative 20 and add to get to negative 8. Remember, if you don't know it, write down all of the factors. Okay, and now I'm going to just do this off to the side because it can get a little long. So we have 4t squared plus 2t minus 10t minus 5. Okay, my GCF is a 2t. And then we're left with 2t divided by 2t is 1. Good. Okay, my GCF back here is a negative 5. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is, oops, it's not negative, Mr. Grice. And negative 5 divided by negative 5 is positive 1. And guess what? They match. So as I'm coming back over here, okay, my GCF is still there. And then I have 2t plus 1, 2t minus 5. Excuse me. Everything with a variable we set equal to 0. Okay? If we were to, sorry, when we solve it, we get t equals -1/2 and t equals 5/2. We're talking about time though, so can I have negative time? Nope. So my final answer would be the 5/2 seconds, or if you wanted to say 2.5. All right, last one. I'm going to make you guys do some of this on your own, okay? So find the missing dimension of the rectangular prism if its volume is 540 inches cubed. So they told me volume. Volume equals length times width times height, okay? I know it equals 540, and now I can put these in any order that I want to, okay? We always recommend putting the number first, okay? And then it doesn't matter, okay? I'm going to distribute into the group to get 10 plus 1. Sorry, that's going to be not 10x plus 1 because 10 times 1 is 10 and x minus 2, okay? So I want you to distribute, combine like terms, and set equal to 0. Okay? So distribute, combine like terms, set equal to 0. On your mark, get set, go. And pause the video. Okay, so once you do all that, you should get 10x squared minus 10x. Yeah, minus 10x minus 560. Okay. Now I want to take out what? What do I want to take out? A GCF. Okay, so my GCF out of all of those is a 10. Okay, so my GCF comes out front. It's still set equal to 0, and that gives us x squared minus x minus 56. Okay, so I want numbers that, sorry, hold on. So, sorry about that. I want numbers that multiply to negative 56 and add to -1. Okay, so going through those, you should have gotten 7 and 8, but which one's negative? Yeah, the 8 is negative. So we get 0 equals 10, and then we get x plus 7, x minus 8, and then everything with the variable we set equal to 0. And then we get our answers of -7 and a +8. Okay, well, guess what? I can't have a -7th length because if I were to plug that in, that would be -6. Wah, wah. Can't do that. Okay, so when we plug in 8, 8 plus 1, we get 9. There's 10, and then 8 minus 2, we get 6. So our side lengths are 6 inches, 9 inches, and 10 inches. And if you're curious if that works, I'm just opening up my calculator. 6 times 9 times 10. There's my check, 540. Woohoo, I did it right. Now, if you have any questions or you need any extra assistance, please come find Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Unit 7B Final Exam Review. Good luck on your finals, and thanks for watching.